Welcome back. It's 3:24. I'm Martin Daubney and this is GB News. Now, the row over returning migrants to the UK from Ireland is gathering pace. And last week saw some violent protests against the rising number of asylum seekers there. You can see pictures on your screen now. And that was a site about an hour south of Dublin that was firebombed by locals. And the Irish government announced emergency laws to return them to the UK, saying the increasing numbers were down to Rishi Sunak's Rwanda plan. But the UK government has indicated that it won't accept any returns until EU-wide asylum rules are changed. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm now joined by Hermann Kelly, who's the president of the Irish Freedom Party. Hermann, welcome to the show. How are you doing, mate?
Hello, Martin.
Yes, we can hear you. Fantastic.
Lovely.
Now, I know you've got a lot to say on this topic. It seems to me astonishing that the Irish politicians are blaming Rishi Sunak, they're blaming Rwanda. Hermann, is it simply a case of them failing to take control of Irish borders?
Helen McEntee, the Justice Minister, was cross-examined in an Irish parliamentary committee during the week. It basically came out that Ireland has no functioning deportation system. So once any migrant or asylum seeker comes into Ireland, they are virtually guaranteed that they won't be deported again. Both countries have a major problem. Both countries have very generous, non-contributory welfare systems where people come in from all over the world, very often with, we don't know their name, we don't know their country of origin, even their criminal record, but they get very generous. They get housing, welfare, medical care, and yet there's no deportation. So both countries have a major problem. But you know what? Where does the border begin? Is it down the Irish Sea? Is it within Ireland itself? Or should we actually turn our attention to France? Because for Ireland, the vast majority of migrants coming to Ireland actually come as EU, come completely legally through EU open borders. So, I believe the whole thing about asylum seekers in Ireland is overplayed by the press who want to talk about illegal immigration, while our major problem is actually legal immigration.
Yeah, and Hermann, we saw last week there was another site about an hour's drive south of Dublin that was firebombed by locals. Nobody was in that site, of course, but Hermann, we've seen the Garda, the police deployed in quite brutal ways against civilians, a lot of whom are being called far right or racist for simply standing up for what they believe is their right to defend their country and their borders.
They're not extreme at all. This is mainstream public opinion. During the week, there was an opinion poll in the Irish Daily Mail that 79% of the Irish people have had enough of immigration. It is the mainstream position to oppose this open borders we have with the rest of the world. And what has happened is this incompetent Justice Minister Helen McEntee, with the help of Drew Harris, has politicised the police service, and basically the Irish police baton charged and pepper sprayed Irish civilians, basically Irish mammies, who are very concerned about the safety of their communities. And you know what? The vast majority of Irish people have had enough of EU open borders and mass immigration.
And Hermann Kelly, we saw Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission President, astonishingly today saying that the EU should look at a Rwanda-style agreement. Is this the same thing in Ireland? Politicians finally talking tough on asylum, on immigration, when they're the ones that chose open borders, they're the ones that bury their heads in the sands, and they're the ones who are responsible.
Well, yet it's lack of political will in Ireland itself to stop immigration. Now, Greece did it. Now, 2015, 1 million asylum seekers went to Greece. Now, this year, it's 15,000. So if there's a political will to stop immigration, it can be done. But in Ireland, incredibly, the Justice Minister, Helen McEntee, against public opinion, is looking to opt in to this EU migration pact. And that will bring a huge number, an additional number of people and expense onto Ireland. So we believe it's madness, and the Irish Freedom Party completely opposed opting into this EU migration pact.
OK, Hermann Kelly, the president of the Irish Freedom Party. An absolute pleasure to talk to you, my friend, as ever. Thanks for joining us.
Sounding good. You're sounding good, Martin.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Now let's cross to our Northern Ireland reporter, Doogie Beattie, who joins us. Doogie, welcome to the show. Doogie, when I spoke to you earlier this morning, you pointed out in no uncertain terms, this has been talked about for years and years and years. This is not a new thing. And now the politicians in Ireland are trying to blame the politicians in the UK. In actual fact, they should take control of their own borders. It's their responsibility, is it not?
Correct. I mean, I'm standing now on the Irish border. This is Northern Ireland, Great Britain, that I'm standing in now. Just in front of me there is the River Flurry. That is the Republic of Ireland, not 5 feet away from me. And of course, there's not a border post to be seen. Now, during the Brexit negotiations, Barnier and Tusk played tough with Britain, and Leo Varadkar at that stage of the game was offered an electronic border, a smart border in Ireland. And he said it was unicorn politics and it was unicorn thinking and it would never happen. Now, of course, we have been on this for the last 2 years. In fact, I was in the East Wall and Finglas and Ballymun saying about the number of immigrants that have went into Ireland. Nobody thought that Britain would come up with the Rwanda deal and that immigrants would then move from this side of the border to the Republic of Ireland. And the Republic of Ireland is a beautiful country. And I spent the weekend down there in Newtown, Mount Kennedy. And Newtown, Mount Kennedy, the average house price is about €300,000. There's houses there for 5.2 million. And they wanted to put in place an old convent and convert it into a place for immigrants, young men that are currently lying in the streets of Dublin, into Wicklow. And of course the locals totally resisted, and we're not talking, these are not working class people, and they had a peaceful protest for 6 weeks. But on Friday morning, the Garda Síochána came in very heavy-handed, and that is what has actually sparked the Irish government to start talking tough on immigration, because these people would have been Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil voters, and it has woken them up to the very fact that these Liberal people actually clapped GB News in. They talked to us, they told us how much we were welcome there. It was quite amazing.